The average North American consumes 5 times more than a Mexican, 10 times more than a Chinese person, and 30 times more than a person from India. We are the most voracious consumers in the world. A world that could die because of the way we North Americans live. Give it a rest. November 23 is Buy Nothing Day.
All right, so that was an advert from Adbusters. It's an anti-consumerist organisation, and Darren Fleet is one of the leaders of the campaign. He joins me live from Vancouver. Darren Fleet, what is the problem with Black Friday? Isn't it just a harmless holiday tradition in the US?
Well, what's wrong with Black Friday? Let's count the ways similar to counting down to Christmas. I would say the ultimate issue is that it's sort of this consumer shopping orgy, if you will. Like, I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. And it's kind of the ultimate symbol of a broader culture of consumerism that underlies very much all of North American culture and pretty much almost all of the West. And it's the example that we've set for the world. And unfortunately, a lot of the world now wants to follow that. And I think, as I said, Black Friday is kind of the big symbol of that.
How many people, though, really do listen to your message? You get the impression that Black Friday is this tradition and people are going to go out and shop till they drop, particularly in a recession-hit time when the bargain prices are there to be had, the bargain goods are there to be snapped up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know how many people are going to participate. There's not really any way of quantifying that. But what I can say is I think when I see those types of images of people kind of running through the doors to just latch onto a product that they wouldn't normally be able to afford, in a way kind of, I think it's sad for me to see that, because I understand that goods are becoming more expensive for the average North American, and yet there doesn't seem to be a connection between the out-of-reachness of those goods, the low wages that people make, and the type of consumption that fuels that race to the bottom that is leading to what I think I'm seeing on the screens is kind of peak consumerism and kind of the beginning of the end of what we thought would be the dream of a consumer-based economy.
What about the argument that, given we're in tough economic times...
consumption-based, sorry.
Sure. What about, I mean, what about the argument that right across the world, given the current state of the world economy, there is an argument that actually you need to encourage people to spend to get economic growth? And I guess a lot of the retailers, Walmart included, rely on these particular times of year, the Black Friday, to increase their sales. That they're absolutely reliant on that. Without those sales, many of them would would struggle.
This is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. As I mentioned before, we live in an era called the God of growth, and essentially, in ecological terms, this is complete insanity that people in the West and I think around the world are given the choice between help the environment or support a different type of social economy where people are paid more to produce goods, or hyper consume. So basically, we're given this option of live a 5-planet lifestyle, or starve and die on the street. And I think that's a dichotomy that shouldn't exist and doesn't have to exist. The reality is we don't have to have this type of economy, and we don't have to have this type of hyperconsumption that it needs to survive. I think of this economist Kenneth Boulding, who said, this is a paraphrase, but basically anyone who believes that infinite growth can go on forever on a finite planet is either a madman or an economist. So this idea that you have to consume in order to survive at the level that we do is actually complete insanity. The reality is, if we consume at the way we are going to die.
That's a grim outlook, but we're going to have to end it there. It's great to have you on the programme. Darren Fleet joining us from Vancouver.